Hello and welcome to your weekly horoscope for week commencing the 11th of April for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you a broad overview of the key changes and influences, but if you would please stay with me, I will then dive deep to give you each of the 12 zodiac signs in detail. This week begins with Mercury, the planet of talk and thought, that influences communication and distribution and transport, moving into the sign of Taurus. This is the second phase of its journey. It's just finished 21 days in Aries, very much to do with initiation. The sign of Taurus is about foundations, values, worth, can be about money. So Mercury here is wanting to see more substance for the things we've been working on in recent weeks. But on Tuesday, Jupiter and Neptune come into an exact conjunction. They came within 3 degrees into conjunction from the end of March and will continue to be so through to the end of April. Now, because they're both the ruling planets of Pisces, and Venus moved into this sign last week where she is exalted, this gives us an opportunity to really embrace the more ephemeral side of life. It's not necessarily to do with what we can see, it's what we can feel, it's our instincts. Now at their best, these two coming together is asking us to find a higher truth. We can see the realities of life in lots of ways, can see how the distorting element of Neptune can be applied to information, Jupiter, especially when it comes to battles of philosophy in a less than constructive way. But we have a choice to embrace this energy in a positive manner. And of course, with Venus having moved there as well, this may be making us nostalgic for past relationships or for people who are no longer with us. Or it could see us thinking very seriously about those relationships which are not working for us and trying to find out what the meaning really is for us and how we might negotiate the situation. Now, because Mars is going to be moving into Pisces on Friday, some would argue because Mars is the ruler of Scorpio that Mars can exist in the sign of Pisces fine, but I feel that the water does tend to dissipate the wateriness, the mutability of Pisces, the intrinsic need for desire and attainment that Mars gives us, but it can help us over the following 6 weeks to think very, very deeply into situations, perhaps working behind the scenes. If you do work in a compassionate sector of healthcare or healing, then Mars moving into this area can be very good. Anything to do with working in a marine sector can also be encouraged by Mars's transit through this area. But on Saturday we do have the full moon in the sign of relating, aesthetics, presentation, art and fashion, of course Libra. But on the other side of the heavens we have the sun in the go-getting Aries, which is very much to do with us as individuals. The Libran influence is how we connect to others, but pivoting between the two is the position of Pluto in an exact T-square pretty well. And that builds up as the full moon emerges. I think some politics around balancing what we need for ourselves and what we're prepared to give or get from others is going to come more sharply into focus. But then as the week draws to a close, Mercury is accelerated forwards and is very close to Uranus. So that is pushing us to be as inventive and innovative as possible when it comes to how we approach things. But of course the sign of Taurus can resist change, and that's been creating quite a lot of stress. So Mercury being there just can make us a bit more agile, flexible and nimble about how we do deal with facing up to the reality that a lot of raw materials and the things we consume have become more expensive. But if you are someone who's entrepreneurial, it's a great opportunity to think outside the box about how you might make the most of a talent, and especially through anything that has a digital output or is just very fresh in its approach. If you, for example, identify a service which no one else is providing, then you can seize the opportunity really quickly. Things happen quickly with Uranus in the mix, so maybe an unexpected conversation or something to do with a financial change can present itself as this week draws to a close. Now, if you are new to my channel, I would be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to ascend above this Zodiac broadcast and embrace more serious astrology, please see my special offer below, where you can get a year's forecast and your character analysis based on your time, date and place of birth. And if you give me those 3 pieces of information, I can give you so much back to help guide your moves, not just in the next year, but in terms of understanding your deeper potentials and how you can seize those, make the most of them future forward for many moons. Hello Scorpio, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for week commencing the 11th of April. Now, your ruler Mars is going to relocate on Friday into one of the most glorious sectors in astrology, the 5th house. This is very Leonian. It's about self-expression, and of course Mars can be the planet of drive, but also the planet of more raunchy attraction. So if you're wanting to rejuvenate your love life, the fact that Mars moves into this sector, Mercury moves on Monday into your sector of relating, and Jupiter and Neptune come together in a conjunction on Tuesday, also in your 5th house, where you have Venus too. It's quite exciting in terms of relationship prospects. But of course the Sun does continue in the very pragmatic 6th house, asking you to make sure that all the basics in your world are working efficiently. And the full moon, which occurs on Saturday, is squaring up to your modern ruler of Pluto. So how you express yourself, Pluto's in your sector of everyday words, thoughts and expressions, is going to be important in how you marshal that full moon, because for you it occurs in the 12th house. So some uncomfortable truths could come up around your professional or work situation. Don't necessarily think that everybody that you are aligned with professionally is got your back, because there could be some revelations which can really surprise you. Also at the end of this week, as Mercury moves alongside Uranus, when it comes to relationships, from the perspective of other people, they may surprise you with some of their utterances and viewpoints. But in general, if you can get through this week in terms of toggling the more physical side of life, the Sun, the more spiritual and emotional side of life, the Moon, there is that rich oasis of potential in your sector of self-expression, of joys and sociability, but equally of romance too.